Hello, everyone. Today's topic is about Black History Month, diversity and inclusion. My name is Yasmin Mohammed, a digital navigator. Today we are joined with Ms. Saadia and Mr. Jaycee, representatives from the Yesler community. Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for doing the great work that you do around Yesler, for leading not only these different activities to just make a difference in the neighborhood. And my name is Saadia Hamid. I am the Education Engagement Specialist at Yesler. Work with Mr. Jaycee, and I'll pass it to you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Jaycee, community educator. I've worked in Yesler for probably the past 6 years, so not too long, but got to watch a couple cohorts of young people grow up. I'm from the CD. I like to say the pre-gentrified Central District, when it was largely African-American community, over 80%. Like everybody on my block, 33rd and Cherry, is all black families, all middle-class families, all striving, different vibe. And we got to really create that community like you see in Yesler, when everybody's concentrated and your resources are together. It just brings so much more political power, economic power. And unfortunately, we're sitting in a space where, you know, we have all these new box homes and places going up and people are getting displaced. So it's hard to see. It's hard for my family and friends when they come back to the city to just see complete blocks look different. Just think about how different Yesler looks just from a few years ago. So that's just one of the small, not a small issue, but one of the issues that, you know, we definitely probably could touch on, you know, as we think about these topics. Who benefits from, you know, development? Who benefits from telling these stories in a certain way and suppressing the stories of others? So.
Well, for sure we can talk about that, but for today, our first question is gonna be, what does Black History Month mean to you as individuals and as service organizers?
That's a loaded question. And as my friend says, that I wish if it was not only 1 month. And even though it's designate 1 month, I think I would like to think about it like every day month or everyday celebration, because history was not confined in 1 month in one place in one space. And because of that, I would like to think about it like it's Black history or Black hard work and the path that have been worked, started way before and still going. So we just have to celebrate it every day and every time. And it's something that everybody have to acknowledge and everybody have to follow and everybody have to uplift. So Black history means to me is not, I don't look at it only on February. It's something that I would like to celebrate and I celebrate and think about in everyday life, in everyday moment, and think about every Black person who take one step forward is a celebration for me. And that's how I look at it. It's not a big one, it's not small one. From wherever you are at, if you take step forward, that is a celebration and we need to celebrate it. So Black History Month is, I don't look at the month, I say that Black History celebrations, and I look at it in an everyday. And I look for moments to celebrate every day, every moment, every time, instead of waiting and remember it only in one place.
I have to completely agree with Mama Saadia. Black History Month is all the time for us. Maybe from a federal standpoint and for, you know, different populations outside of the community, they can have Black History Month. But for us, we're studying, we're honoring, we're healing, we're having dialogue about these things every day. It's completely necessary for us to move forward. That's why you see in schools they're trying to suppress different stories. But who benefits from that? You got to think and ask yourself, why do we even need a Black History Month? Because in schools, oftentimes the narrative is always Eurocentric. And, who benefits from those things? So I'll flip the question on some of you guys. It's like, why do you think we need a Black History Month? Why is Black History Month necessary?
Well, to be honest, as a person, as an immigrant, I did not think that Black people, like when I was in Eritrea, I did not think that Black people will go through all of this here in America, because America was seen as a big thing back home. But when I came here, it was like very heartbreaking to hear and to know about these things, how they were slaves and how they went through all of that. But I think that Black History Month is important for the youth, so because they know their history, how their ancestors went, how the people really had hard time to get into this place, and for us to learn. So yeah, I think it's really important for us to have this month to learn and to know our culture more. So yeah, I think that's really important for us as youth. But yeah.
Yes, as Yasmin said, Black History Month is very important. Like, as an immigrant, I want to know about Black people, like African American history, what they went through, the specific month. It's a time for us to learn about them and know more about them. But I feel like I don't know how they feel about it, having a specific month, because if you see in America, it should be everyday celebration, not just 1 month. And if you see other minorities, such as Jews, they don't have Jewish month or whatever. So it's kind of you can say, as Jaycee said, I don't know how they feel. So,
Yeah.
so I have one question. So to Saadia, Black History Month started in 1970, right? And how do you feel when you heard about Black History Month and as an immigrant when you come here?
Well, as you, my story is not different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same. When I was back home, America is like the land of opportunity. You want to go there, you want to prosper, you want to do things, you can do that. I think my main goal was to go to education, to get my education in America. That was a big thing for me. And I was not informed enough about Black people here and the history of Black people. And it took me a while. You guys are lucky to get it early on. It took me a while because we got here and we got into this place that you're going to be, if you don't work hard and find yourself, you're going to be eaten or you're going to be somewhere. So I just concentrate on how I'm going to survive this, because that's where I come from. As I am going through it, I've seen things. I experienced some experiences. Especially, I've seen some mistreatment between me and my friends and people. At the time, I was a family support worker at the Head Start program. Most of the Head Start program was originally started by Black women who were in the community, and they started at the daycare that moves to a preschool and Head Start program. And these Black women were there, but at the time, I didn't even know that they don't have the opportunity to go to school. So I come, I'm a family support because I speak different languages. I'm there helping moms, and most of that time, at that time, most of the people who live in the housing were East African, especially Eritrean and Ethiopian. There were African American who was here from originally here, and there are a big number of Vietnamese. So at the time, I don't think there were more. And this is in 1996. So I was here, but as I saw some actions that they're they want to get rid of those women who originate the preschool program or the daycares that become a Head Start. And how I saw that was like there was a mandatory like, oh, you have to have either your associate degree or CDA at the time, CDA class, in order to be a lead teacher. And if you don't have that, then you're going to be degraded. So somebody else is going to come over you. And then I firsthand felt like there was, that's the time I felt it. And I felt it as, not as an immigrant at the time, as a human being too. Like if these are the women who start this, these are the women that's doing this. And I'm not that informed at the time. I don't know much of these things, but if these are the women who start this, how are they being treated this way? And slowly, one by one, they got out of there. And this was the biggest, I think, eye-opener for me, because I see what's happening. I was like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. The other thing is like, oh, they're doing this to them today. I know I'm second, I'm next. And I know these are people just like, look like me. And from human being perspective, and if you know a little bit on that, you feel it. You have that, so that have that big feeling on me. And most of the women at the time, they were the head teachers, become friends and start talking and start saying things. And I talk, I say things and whatever, but none of that is gonna matter because I don't matter myself. I'm new, I'm informed, I still going to school, and I wasn't even in that. So that was my first experience. And then we do the Juneteenth. Juneteenth celebration was big in Yesler. So at Juneteenth, there was a lot of unity and inclusion. Well, like the Habesha do their own food and their own arts and all that. The Vietnamese do that at the time. The African American do that. So it was like a place of inclusion for me. So Juneteenth was a big thing for me. I look forward to it because I see all these people, but at the same time, I feel the pain that was happening. And not only that, then later there are a lot of things that I have seen in the employment area, especially like, okay, you see slowly that black people who are intelligent and can do way more, they go through the process, but they won't get hired. And I don't know at the time, I'm like, what's that? And you don't make a lot about it if you don't know deep on it. But the more I moved up, the more I moved in positions, the more I could see clearly what was happening. So to me, I don't even look, I mean, like, it makes me think about, like, okay, explore who are your ancestors. And I consider them my ancestors. And also in the immigrant and refugee, we all know that there is division, like, oh, black people are this, or black people are this. These are division that comes and through the system. Either it makes us see them that way, and when we come to the housing, and we're only exposed to our neighbors. We're not learning about the black intelligence. We're not learning about what black bring to this world. We learn nothing about that, and all what we see is around each other, and also dividing one another. But the system in general is going to look at my son and Jaycee's son the same, those black boys. It doesn't matter. But so I think I'm glad you guys are coming early to this, and hopefully you will be the bridge and educate the communities to see and to acknowledge and to celebrate what black did in this. That's what we are here because of that. If we were not, we probably would be go the same way. But because they pay the price and they fight back, and this is what they get to, so we just have to help each other to lift up and acknowledge what we have been through and what have been our ancestors through, and move forward celebrating and uplifting each other. So it's, for me, I think I learned it through actions, I would say, than theory. The theory come later but actions speak louder, and that's how I learned it. So this is what it means to me, Black history.
Hello. Hello, my name is Solbana. What do you know about the civil rights movements, and who are some leaders involved?
I think after I got hit by first experiences of this, I started reading, I started looking, I started hearing about different Black leaders. Like I heard about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Elijah, a lot of those, Rosa Parker. You guys can hear about all those. So I've heard a lot, and I try to search out myself. So most of the things that I learn is things that I learn myself. There is nothing was teaching in school. I've never took any class about Black History Month. But I just push myself. I'm like, okay, what's happening? And I have to look. And also being with Jaycee, with all other friends. Luckily, I met with a woman, her name is Barbara Washington, who is a Black leader in this community. There are Patricia Valentine. A lot of people that I know in the community are Black, intelligent people. So I was lucky enough to know those and learn from them. And also I start going to race and social justice. What does that mean? Groups that get together to talk about Black intelligence. I learned a little bit about Black intelligence in the early learning education. Deborah Sullivan, one of the leaders that was writing some of those books. So I become in her circles. I start going there, and I start going with Dr. Sharon Knights. Those are actually, they taught me when I was in school, and then we keep our connections until today. And the more I see them, the more want to help us, the more want to lift us authentically. It's not like this laughing and we're going to help you. It's just holding hands. And those are what makes me feel, oh, okay, so this is who they are. This is our ancestors. This is how intelligent they are. This is how helpful they want to be. But because we do not know and we don't have that connection with them, we just look at what is next to us, and if this person, we didn't see the intelligence on him or on her, we just don't look forward. So if you don't go and at this moment, if you don't go and search and learn yourself, there are not a lot. There is a push for it. There are push for teaching the Black history, but still there is another push, and I think the other side is still stronger, but we will get there. We will be. As long as we push, we're still going to be there, and we're going to. So I know a lot, but whatever I know is something that I search for and I learn it myself. It wasn't anything in the school.
My name is Sam, and I would like to transition into about the Seattle housing and the youth. So my question was, what has Seattle housing done in order to celebrate the Black History Month? And do you guys have any plans like how to teach the kids, the youth, about Black History Month, about the Black history?
So what's going on? Typically this year, I mean, everything is virtual, everything is behind the mask, but there's young people in different communities, just like yourself, who took the initiative to ensure that there's celebrations, that there's dialogue happening, that books are being distributed, that meals, and still there's opportunity to gather in a safe way, and throughout SHA communities, north and south. So really, when you ask that question about the civil rights as well, it's like I think about young people. These movements always start with young people who are always on the front lines, being the bravest. And you think even about all those young people that integrated schools, you know, being spit on and disrespected at a tiny age, and they're still alive. This is not ancient history. Like, these people are like in their 60s now, and they were the ones that integrated like schools. So we're still so close to and still living like in this oppressive society. And if we don't tell the true story, they make it seem like, well, we can blame it on something is wrong with those people instead of looking at the systems that create the conditions that we're all in. So if we continue to come together and not look at our differences, but look at, the system that is strategically keeping us at each other and not coming together and not keeping our eye and focus on dismantling white supremacy, I think it's very important for us to, share our histories, learn the connections between them. And that's what Mama Saadia and I always try to do. We know, like in your reality, like at school, like sometimes there's tensions between groups, light skin, dark skin, within our own community here in America. Then it may be like, oh, they're East African or they're West African. But we have to see we're all from the same diaspora. We're all part of, we don't even use the term minority. That's like a derogatory term in like we are the global majority, people of melanated people. We are the global majority, and we need to start acting like that and coming together and eradicating the systems that, set us apart and set these things in motion through colonization and slavery in the States.
A little bit, because this is about SHA. One, I think that a Black History Month, it's our History Month. So I think every youth like you guys, wherever you are at, you have to be proud, you have to be starting that, saying that we want to celebrate. You guys have to demand it. Everybody has to demand it and say, we want to celebrate it. Not only one day, we just want to know more about it. That should be a demand that comes from you guys. You need to push us, and we can push more. Number two, SHA is its own a big entity. We work for them, but the big entity also have the same way of all the systems. So it's not free from other systems, and it's your role to push to that too, and ask those kinds of questions. What are you doing? How are Black being treated? Are Black being employed? Why can we see this? Why cannot see this? So you guys have to be like Mr. Jaycee was talking about, those young people who just sat down in a restaurant and say, we're not gonna get out, because they wanna be served like the white people. And went through a lot, but they make it happen, and because they're persistent, happen. So I would advise all of you guys are leaders, just make up and also stand or start. So if it's SHA or any other agency, or at the top, they are the same and they're serving the same system. So knowing that, I think, what can we do and you guys have a lot of power. You have a power, you have youth, and you have, you're smart. So one, own it, it's your own history. And two, I think you have every power to ask those questions at all times, not only at this time, at all times.
I'm Kara, and I think one of my questions go back to what you guys were talking about earlier in the beginning of, do you think it's important to have spaces set up in the community specifically to learn and highlight Black History Month? Like why or why not? I think that's what you guys were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's really critical that we have third space like this, like outside. This is just community here. Outside, I mean, we're in a SHA building, but this is our MMRTI community where we come together and we sit around and have dialogue about these topics. I think it's very critical that we do, especially seeing the push to suppress just all the evils that the founders of this country did to get here. Like, we're sitting on stolen land that was produced by, several hundred years, 400 years plus of free labor on the backs of Black people. And if we deny people access to the stories and the contributions of black people to this country who built this country and continue to give us innovation after innovation through some of the toughest struggle that we still continue to see, people getting killed in the street through state-sanctioned violence. I think it's just a disservice to everyone. I think everybody deserves it to know the truth so we can make up our own decisions and be critical thinkers. So I think we have to push back because there is really a strong movement to suppress like the true telling of history in this country, and it's in the schools. So I think it's critical that we have these spaces and that we also create like our own schools independently of the public school system, independent schools or leveraging charter, wherever we can make sure that we have liberatory thinkers, innovative folks, and especially people of the global majority leading those spaces, because none of this will change if we continue to see white people at the top deploying brown people like in the streets, and we have to make sure that we have the right people at the top who are liberatory thinkers as well and don't subscribe to Eurocentric mindsets and want to see all people rise through equitable solutions.
Yeah, I will add on to that. I think it's critical to have, highlight black leaders, highlight black achievement everywhere in the community. As you said, actually, you guys should work in a technological resource center. When Yesler first started redevelopment, we talk about talking with Microsoft, all the tech people around here. It's easy to make like a central place that people can come and computerize, read about history, read highlights history of black people, read highlight history about Yesler. What's Yesler? Where the founders, who were the first people in this, and then who comes next, and how did this was working, and also highlight the black people history. What black? If you don't know, if you don't see what the person in front of me does, I'm not going to look at myself. I don't see myself at that level. I'm just. If you all see is Mama Saadia here, you're gonna dream only here. But if you see a lot of Mama Saadias out there, you're gonna dream out there, and that's what's important. So, I think you guys should take this. And I could tell you more of this, but Rachel Stewart, who's our manager now, and I were in that place, and we were asking for that to happen, but we didn't have, she was working for CLU, I was working here, and we didn't have the capacity to take that off the ground, but that's still a possibility. I think we should, and I'm sure like if we get to the tech communities, they can help with this. Having that technology in the middle, on the center, and having all those black history there, people come and learn, and that's how we should learn. And also having those highlights in our offices, or the places that people go to, we should have it, because so people can tell and can know and can dream higher than what is set for us. We are more than that. Anybody can do that everybody's doing. It's a matter of access to resource.
Hi, my name is Azahel. My question is, what does Yesler do for all community?
Are you talking about Seattle housing?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to start?
So the primary thing, what draw me to SHA, Seattle Housing Authority, was yes, you want to provide people a place to live, a roof over their head, but there's also services that you have to think of when you build these communities out. So I was always attracted to the work that Mama Saadia does in community, like going to homes, sitting on couches, building relationships with families, being a trusted extension of that family, advocating for them in different spaces, especially the schools. And that's how we kind of met. And I think that is something SHA is working on. It's a work in progress, but they're starting to invest more. So I think when we do things like this and we highlight them and we tell the stories, it helps people see like how valuable like these positions can be. Because there's definitely a disconnect between, like I said, people that sit in the offices downtown and what happens in community. So when you all are storytellers, so when you help tell this story, it's going to start pushing them to, really invest in this work in a way where we can serve the community holistically, all your needs. But I do appreciate the fact that they are beginning to invest, and my position is youth engagement specialist. Like, it's a brand new position for this area. And it's exciting to be able to connect with young people that I've built relationships with over the years, and can, stop them for a second, and that we can have a dialogue, and they know that when I'm coming at them, it's from a place of love. It's like I don't want to, steal anyone's joy, but I want to make sure that we're catching people before they're in that pipeline to prison. So I think SHA is starting to connect some of these dots and invest in these things, but it's going to take y'all to continue to, push and let us know like what you need. Like, don't ever be shy. Come to us. Let us know your biggest dreams and what you demand of us to do, like in this space. We want to make sure that we're always supporting MMRTI and other scholars like throughout the neighborhood, and being attentive to your needs and not just making programs for the sake of making programs, but also listening first to your parents and to yourself, so we're always on the mark when we're serving.
And I just wanted to add to that, what do SHA do for, so I am an immigrant, and it's in my heart that I have to support every immigrant and every black person I see. And there are, like Mr. Jaycee said, there are so many things. And way before now, people used to come and say, hey, we have this service. And they start it, and they don't care how much it works or not work. And then they close it, they can go. But those are the things that we have to fight for. We just have to fight, like, okay, one, we have to know what the community needs. We have to meet the families, and we have to go to schools. That's how we met. And I'm thankful Mr. Jaycee is here, because before when I talk, I'm only one. And they try always to dismiss some of us to be like, oh, it's the immigrants, oh, it's about the language, or it's just saying that. But having Mr. Jaycee give me another power to do more of that and to push for that. It's not about this or that, it's about the community. So that was a big help for me. The other thing is we support MMRTI to come here. I was dreaming of that because I know what could happen here. If MMRTI comes here, youth can come and can be engaged in all that. So the fact that some of our kids go the wrong way, it's a loss for the community, and it's also a success for those who want to see us that way. And that takes information, that takes training, that takes learning, they have to see and to have to dream high to not go the wrong way. And that's why you see some of our kids don't go there. Some of our kids, and if you go that way, it's very short before you met up to different place. And those are that, to me as a mother, concerns me. And I have seen so many of that. Since 1996, the first kids that I had in Head Start programs are now mothers and fathers. And some of them, they are not even alive. And it hurts me as a person, because someone that I saw grow and have them, seeing them leave just before they hit the 20th birthday, it's a loss. And it's a loss not only for one family, it's a loss for all families, it's a loss for all the community. So as we said, we can do maybe Jaycee and I, but we are just limited. We're two people who have our own life too. And I'm thankful that there is a lot of, my position was the only position at SHA, but right now we have like how many? 6 positions, and we're growing. So I'm glad they see the need of this position, and it's growing, but we need more than that. If we could, we need to have each person have some mentor that can sit with him and show him the right way and show him where they're going, the kids who are going the wrong way, showing them that this is not going to serve you. This have a dead end very soon. They don't see that right now. So, and this is, I'm telling you guys this so you can stand for it. You can say, hey, we need this. There are some services, if it doesn't serve us, talk about it. This service doesn't do anything for us. And ask for the right service. We want these services. If you said that to us, Jaycee and I are gonna take it and say, Yesler kid youth leaders want these services. And the more we push and the more we become a power, the more we can bring services here. I think for the new immigrant commerce, I would like to do more things. We're thinking of having a ESL class in this building, right where we are at. We were thinking of having tutoring here for the adults, not only for the kids. Because once you're here, it's gonna be important to learn the language. It's one way. It should not be the biggest thing to put you back, but it should be something, a means that you're gonna use, and it's gonna be needed. So that's what we were trying to do, but COVID came and we cannot continue with that. We would like to see that. We would like to see the ESL classes here. We would like to see some trainings that will be helping parents to know the minimum so at least they can go to jobs. We would like to see more youth work. Youth can show their talents, and they can be hired. So I would like to see a lot of things. Are we doing that right now with so many things? We do them what we can, but there are a lot can be done, and you guys can ask for it. So.
Cool. For sure, this is something that, like, as MMRTI or Digital Navigators, we have some time where we sit down and we think about what we want to do, like to help the people, to help the kids. So for sure, this is something that will come from Digital Navigators, and we'll do our best to kind of, start this and to plan things. But I had a question about the redevelopment. Before the development happened, how was Yesler and how was the Black community, and how did the redevelopment change it? How people were celebrating, how people were, how diverse they were and how they were open with each other. How did redevelopment took something away from the people, like from the Black community, or how diverse the Yesler was?
So any group needs land, space, buildings to live, to survive, to operate. So that's the big piece. Like when you talk about colonization, it's in its basic form, it's a substitution of one group for another. So when we think about this land, we're on Duwamish land, right? And then we came, and it was colonized by white folks. When black folks first came up to this area, they were all redlined and pushed directly into this neighborhood. This is the only place you can live. They said no indigenous folks could be in the city of Seattle. All black folks have to live here in the CD, or what they called the colored district at the time. So when everybody was there, in one sense, it's like you're pushed to a place, you're marginalized, but when you're concentrated as a people, you also can do collective and group economics. Your business in the neighborhood, you're going to support those businesses because it's the only place you can be. So in some sense, folks made lemonade out of lemons, and this place was thriving with, creatives and business folks, and just, your everyday folks who are just living amongst each other and building an economic base and power base. So what happens when you come in and you disrupt that and you separate groups, you start to begin to lose that power, that connection. Businesses start to go away because your customer base is now moved out. The property values go up, so the taxes go up and people can't afford to live there anymore, and they get marginalized and pushed out again. So it's kind of this snowball effect that is keeping people, out of the neighborhood, and many folks want to return. Mm-hmm. As far as Yesler goes, SHA-wise, when they did the redevelopment, this is still like a science project in the making, because we're bringing all these people into one space, a lot of bodies, and we see the things that are starting to happen in community, the disagreements between those who feel they have a right to the land because they're homeowners or paying a higher rent, and those who are SHA neighbors. Mm-hmm. There's like tension there over space. Who has the first right to community rooms? Who says a kid can, be here, and if they're loud and they're doing something that makes someone else feel uncomfortable, why do they have to feel like they can't be themselves in their neighborhood? Why does the police got to get called, and things of that nature? So it's really making it just not a welcome space, and it's creating a lot of division, and there's not the same vibration, the same energy that you felt once before when the community was buzzing, because everybody was concentrated largely here, like 80%, and now it's probably, I don't know, like maybe 3% or 2% African American, like in this same neighborhood. But it's something you definitely should look into, like the rich history of the Central District. It's probably one of the most significant places, cultural places you would see, this Africa town here that doesn't get recognized, but so many important people, grew up and came through these streets.
Yeah, the only thing I will add to that is I have seen before the redevelopment mm-hmm. and how houses were, and after that. So before the redevelopment, most of the people who live mostly are our people, like either black or Vietnamese or immigrants, or any of those. And they have at least a small place to be outside with their kids. It's all look like houses. It's neighbor to neighbor. There is small, like I witnessed, I was here when they get, oh, I don't have, can I borrow some sugar? Can I borrow some salt? It feels like they are one neighborhood with one with close connected families. We still have some families who are connected and from all groups. It's not one or the other. And your friend or someone who belongs to you can come and visit you easily, come in, knock on your door. It was the same thing, the feeling like of communality. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really vibrant, and still was, it's like a rolling snowball effect. Thank you. I've seen this when I came in the 1996, as I told you. It was more East African and Vietnamese and African American. Slowly, we lost the African American first. This is it's my experience. Then we lost the Amharic and Tigrinya speakers, the East African, they're gone. And then slowly the Vietnamese, especially the working class or the young people. And then the immigration come from Somalia, so we've seen Somalis. And now we're seeing more Oromos. And then back now to Eritrea and Ethiopia, we're seeing more of that. So it's a wave. Mm-hmm. And it's to me, it's the system, it's built. You don't see someone comes and let's say, oh, let's get rid of this group. But slowly you see moving. And I don't know, how that happens every time. this is just going around to this. I'm saying that to say that before, I think for a lot of our people, it was a lot life-friendly for them, having that kind of setting. Now, having in a building, a lot of people are complaining about if a friend comes, they cannot come in. That person have to come down and get them. Mama Aisha, a woman who just passed away 2 years ago at this building, at Revan, she called her daughter, but her daughter doesn't have the webcam to go in and save even her mom, to see her, even if she can make it. So there is a lot of an inconvenience. You cannot come. There is no trust. It makes you like live in a very secluded place. And our people are not that. We are more common, we are more vocal, we are more person-in-person communication or connection. So with that, so looking at that, I think what was before and what's now and what's going to be, I can see now the future because of what happens. I think this is going to be very small amount of us and a lot of others who have the money to be in this place and can keep this.
Well, thank you so much for coming today. I think me personally and all of us, we learned a lot about the Black history and more of like the Yesler and how Yesler was and how it changed and how much we youth need to kind of push for us to make Yesler better. And I'm sure we will do our best to kind of bring that out from us, like from the youth. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you.
Well, I think I wanna thank you so much because I think with the right timing, with MMRTI being here, your involvement changed a lot in Yesler. So when we talk, when Jaycee talk, when we meet with people, we don't talk from us, we talk from you. So we say the digital navigators say this. The digital navigators do this. You guys change a lot in Yesler, and we want more of that. I think it's having MMRTI here, the leadership of a lot of you coming through here. This is new to Yesler. Yesler not being used to the youth to lead them. So that's why we don't see, you guys are paving the way for others to come and for the community. We have some community leaders, education leaders. Community should own everything that have been done in this community. But right now it's not owned by community. Community should interview service providers to come to this place if they are needed or not. That's not happening, but that's where we want to go. And you guys have to be the leaders and tell us, we should just be the messengers and say, the youth want this, and then you guys lead it and continue it. Persistent is very important. I think the one thing we see is because it wasn't there, there is not a lot of persistence in our youth. That's one thing I see. As a person, I'll send this person, oh, you're going to do this and you're going to work here, and I push and I do that. And that person gets there and come 3 days and then move. I lose the credibility because I can't send another kid to say like 100% is going to be there. So that kind of, I think, authentic way of dealing with people, leadership, showing you show up. You show up not only once, you show up 100 times. That's what our Black leaders did. If they show up once and they distract, they were the slaves. The slave owners could do anything to them, but they show up every day. They show up every time. They show up, they push for years to come. And then they at least move us and get to this place. And we are able to come because that way was paved for us. And you guys are now paving a way for the young people to come after you and own this work. We want you guys to own it. We want you guys to run it. And thank you for doing what you're doing. Keep it going. I'm very proud to say I'm from Yesler now because I have youth leaders, I have family leaders, we have MMRTI, we have people like Jaycee that can push can help our kids. So this is, to me, I think this is the best time in my life that I have been through, because I have so many people that I can count on. And that's what matters. When you have so many people you can count on, you have a power. And that's how I feel right now. Thank you.
Yep, I just want to echo that and just share, just thank you for your brilliance, your bravery, your spirit of inquiry. Just keep that. Just devour all the books that they're trying to ban, all those things that they're trying to keep from you. Just search those things out. Those liberatory thinkers that have pushed against the system, those are the things we need to look to, so we can create an equitable future for, all our neighbors, and just be considerate to each other, kind to each other, and always think, who am I taking with me? Who can I look back to Gessler and take with me? Like, if I make it to college and gain some knowledge through that process, who in the neighborhood can I share that knowledge with, so it makes it easier for them to make that next step and that leap? Or if I get a job, like, how can I help the next person and mentor and pour into your community? So continue to pour into each other, and always, 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 always buck against the status quo if it is unjust. So I appreciate everything that you've been doing, and look forward to collaborating with you, like truly collaborating and co-creating with you all, programs that speak to your lived experience and your needs today and in the future.
Okay. Thank you.